Maybe there was a reason that you...
I have never heard a deceased body pass gas. My name is Evie Vargas, and I am a funeral director and embalmer. I have been in the funeral industry for 10 years and wouldn't have it any other way. Today, we are going to be looking at dead body scenes in movies and TV and judge how realistic they are.
1, 2, 3. Whoa. Angel lust.
So angel lust is a term that I was not familiar with until I saw this clip. Angel lust is a post-mortem erection that happens to men that have been executed by hanging. I have never seen this before. Even if angel lust is real, the deceased in the clip does not seem to be deceased by hanging. I just think it's a bit disrespectful. It really wants that shock value from the audience.
I'd love to, but I've got a dead body in the car with me.
Just a glass of wine, 15 minutes. The dead guy won't mind.
Do me a favor, keep out of the sun.
That is not common practice to leave a body in a car, in the hearse, anywhere. The person that is driving the deceased is in possession of that body and is responsible for whatever happens at this point forward. This will definitely get on the news and you can ruin your business. Usually it's just a regular van. There's no refrigeration.
They make these noises. The air comes out. It's like...
So I have heard that noise, but it's not consistent to how it actually sounds. It's more of like a growling. It's just air passing through the vocal cords. It doesn't last long. It will scare you when it does happen. Nate's imitation is actually accurate to how it actually sounds in real life. The table that Nate is on is a porcelain embalming table. That is where the embalming process takes place. There is running water constantly running on the table. That drain allows for the water, blood, and other fluid to drain into the sewer. What I find to be unrealistic is that he is not wearing gloves, doesn't have a disposable mask on, or even a shield. You have to treat every decedent as if they are contagious and use personal protective equipment. I would rate this scene 3 out of 10. Just because he left the body, you don't do that.
Holy look at that. What? He was clean shaven, he's got a beard now.
It looks like the deceased is wrapped in plastic, but this also looks like it can be skin slip, where the skin slips off of the body. The eyes are not consistent with decomposed body. When someone dies, the pressure in their eyes will decrease. The color of the eye would become cloudy.
Oh, look at his fingernails.
It is a common misconception that hair and nails continue to grow. Skin becomes dehydrated and gives the illusion that the hair is longer and that the nails are longer, when in fact it's just the skin shrinking. This actually looks like degloving that happens, where the entire skin of the hand just peels off. Water would accelerate decomposition, and the body doesn't look like it was submerged in water. You would not be able to identify the remains. It would be bloated, and it just depends how long the person was in the water.
I'm gonna puke.
It can be a strong smell for certain people. They can't handle the smell of decomposition. I use a respirator where you can barely smell, but sometimes it's so strong that even that, it's very overpowering. The deceased in this clip does not look real at all. I would rate this clip a 2 out of 10.
Yes, yes, I knew it! Thank you, Bertie! Thank you!
Some bodies experience rigor mortis. He doesn't seem to be experiencing that. Rigor mortis is the stiffening of joints and muscles within the deceased human body. His body seems to be very pliable. What I'm thinking is, just to try to justify this scene, is they are unknowingly breaking the rigor. Breaking the rigor isn't necessarily breaking bones or breaking anything. It's just flexing the arms, flexing the legs, flexing the head, and loosening it up where you can move the body in any way that the embalmer wants.
Here's your boss. Come on. Let's go. Whoa!
They're moving him so much, if he has contents in his stomach, they may come up. 5 out of 10. Just because he is dead does not mean he will necessarily lose color. It just depends on his cause of death and other environmental factors. I do not cut the clothes. The family more than likely wants those articles of clothing back. The embalmer in this scene is utilizing wax with a spatula, which is consistent. So to fill in that area of missing tissue, you would want to build up that area with wax and then cosmetize over it.
Whose mouth?
That is an S-curve needle and waxed ligature that I use in the embalming room. This is exactly how I would do it. What he is about to do is suture the mouth closed, and he is utilizing the muscular suture. There isn't necessarily a sound that happens when you suture the mouth closed, so I think this is just a bit exaggerated. He does tie the suture in a knot. I do a bow.
Now the eyes.
And those are eye caps to make sure that the eye is set in place. It does have ridges on the top to grip the eyelid. You will not be able to see this at all. You wouldn't even know that someone has this under their eyelids. Sometimes we do put a massage cream to make sure that the eye does not dehydrate. I would rate this scene a 8 out of 10. The only inconsistency I find is the order in which he is closing the mouth and putting in the eye caps.
No, don't!
So each body would be placed in their own body bag. I've never seen a clear body bag. The bag would probably be black, white. It's not a see-through bag at all. Bodies are transported from hospitals, from people's homes. There needs to be some discretion there.
Nice legs over here. A great set of guns.
The way the bodies are just laying there and thrown there, there is a lot more respect and dignity that goes into placing the dismembered bodies into the body bags. They definitely would not be piled in that manner.
We take the best boy parts, we attach them to Kyle's head, and we build the perfect boyfriend.
I find that a lot of movies want to imitate liver mortis, which is the purplish, bluish, reddish color that the skin turns when blood pools to the dependent parts of the body. So when a body is laying down, the blood would pool to the back of the head, leaving that skin color. So a lot of movies like to show that bluish color to show the audience that, okay, this person is dead. And they're like, all right, we know. That's not the case for every person that dies though. Not every person turns that bluish color, reddish color. I would rate this scene a 1 out of 10. There are cameras, there's security. Bodies are not unattended.
Then maybe, just maybe, there was a reason that you...
I have never heard a deceased body pass gas. I know that the stomach can accumulate a lot of gas and will distend. Gas can accumulate in the abdomen and it is relieved by suctioning out or aspirating the abdominal and chest cavities. Once you aspirate and use the trocar to alleviate all of that gas so it has somewhere to go. I can't say for every single body that they accumulate gas in their stomachs, but some do. So I don't know how long he's been in the water. I would assume several days. If that's true, this body is not consistent with a person that has been in the water for several days. It would not be a sight to see. A bloated body would look several times larger than its actual size. The features may look distorted and not be easily identifiable. You may have skin, it just all depends. It's the temperature of the water, how long you've been in the water, how advanced decomposition, did this person drown or not, were they thrown in the water? So I would find that to be unrealistic. The way the body looks, I'm assuming that he has been in the water for several days, and I just don't find that it's realistic and it's decomposed enough to be true. I would rate this scene a 1 out of 10.
Ah, that's very nice.
The makeup in this scene is vibrant, it pops. It's not necessarily what families want to see when they are viewing their loved one. Usually when a family comes into the funeral home, they provide a photo. I try to get as close to that photo as possible, leave my judgments and my preference out of it.
What's this?
The eyes tend to open up because the person does not have the ability to keep their eyes closed anymore. Also, if the eyelid dehydrates a bit, it can retract and not come together fully. The makeup in this scene is consistent with mortuary makeup. I do have several of these pots at the funeral home. It relies on the cold skin to blend, unlike drugstore makeup that relies on the warmth of the skin to blend evenly. I also use this palette. It basically has all the colors that you can mix. You can make it lighter, you can make it darker. I'll put a piece of plastic barrier so that none of the cosmetics gets on the clothes.
You two could have been the king and queen of the golf club, so you could...
The talking to the deceased. I kind of do that sometimes. When I need help or I'm struggling with something, I'm like, come on, help me out here. So I feel like that's very common.
Oh, good grief.
I have never seen a person come back to life. Last year, this 20-year-old woman was pronounced dead by paramedics. The embalmer was getting ready to embalm her, and when he unzipped the body bag, he saw that her eyes were open and she was still breathing. I don't think a lot of people know that as an embalmer, we still have a duty to make sure that the deceased is dead. So we check for a pulse, check if the person's breathing, and then we go about the embalming process. If I were to cut off a head, dust would not come out of the neck. If it was after embalming and I did this, embalming fluid may come out of the arteries. I never really thought of that before. A 4 out of 10.
Stage of the embalming process.
Those suspended jars in the room are gravity injector bottles or flasks. This is early embalming techniques and can actually still be used today. It just is a longer process because they depend on gravity to inject the fluid throughout the body. Inside of the abdomen is a trocar, and that is used today to suction out liquids from the chest cavity and the abdominal cavity. It is also used to inject preservative fluid, preservative cavity fluid. the clothing is removed. Towels are used to cover the private areas because we do have to assess the body and make sure there aren't any incisions. The body is examined from head to toe. We try to still give respect to the body and cover those areas. Embalming the deceased where they died, like this man on his bed, is consistent with those times. I rate this scene a 9 out of 10. I find this scene to be very close to early embalming techniques. And this is consistent with what I would do. I do the hair when the deceased is in the casket. At this point, the body has been disinfected, has been embalmed. She isn't using gloves, and I don't use gloves when I am styling hair. The rubber in the gloves just, it doesn't give me the control over the hair that I want.
In movies, they always say that they look like they're sleeping. She doesn't look like she's sleeping. She looks dead.
My goal, personally, is to make them look like they are sleeping because that gives the family that peace of mind that they are okay and they don't have to worry about them.
My parent died!
The casket should be sturdy on the church truck, which is basically a cart that transports the casket. If the body falls in that manner and the head moves and kind of grazes against the pillow or the side of the casket, the makeup can rub off. It would have to be reapplied. So as an embalmer, embalmers can embalm a body to be firm, very firm, or to be more pliable. It just depends on the funeral home, their style, how they want to present the body. A casket falling in the manner that it fell and the way the body moved seems to be real. Personally, that has never happened to me. My favorite movie that involves the funeral industry is My Girl. I saw the movie when I was 6 years old, and since that age, I always knew I wanted to be a funeral director.